Hello, everyone. My name is Chris Early, and my company is the Flight Exchange. I appreciate you and your attention today. I'll run through what the Flight Exchange is. As you can see, as the tagline here, we're building a premier private flight membership. And I'll go through the details, what specifically that means. I wanted to start with essentially what the market opportunity is here. Worldwide, it's a big market. It's a $26 billion market. But specifically, the U.S. dominates the private jet market. It's about 46% of the global market, as you can see here. So the market opportunity, as I look at it, is about $12 billion. I'll go through the breakout of what makes up that $12 billion, but essentially the universe of people that we're trying to sell to is 1.5 million potential customers. We are trying to gain 3,000 of those people with a premier private flight membership. This breaks it out a little bit. The private jet market or the private aviation market can be a little convoluted, it can be a little opaque and a little confusing. We are trying, as one of our kind of bullet points, to make it more efficient. We're trying to make it more transparent, and we're trying to make it less confusing. But to break this out a little bit in very simple detail, the private jet market consists of a charter market, which means someone owns an airplane. When they don't use it, they charter it. There's also owned fleets, which are dominated pretty much by fractional shares. If anyone's heard of a company in private aviation, typically it's NetJets. NetJets essentially sells a piece of an aircraft. So you can go to them, you actually are titled into the aircraft, but you own a piece of it. What that means is you have about 50 to 100 to 200 to 250 hours of flight that you can fly yearly, annually. So we're going after both these markets. It's really a differentiation for the Flight Exchange. Most people approach either one or the other. We're able and are approaching both of them. The reason why is I have specifically sold fractional shares. I have a team that's also done some of that as well. So we're able to approach that market where others aren't. They tend to have kind of confusing contractual obligations. The fractional market can be really restrictive. The problem with the charter market, it can be very, very inefficient, and I'll go through that a little more in the presentation here. What are we trying to solve? Part of the problem in private aviation is that it can be very inefficient. Basically, you have a huge market that's going through essentially what is a Craigslist type forum right now. In fact, the problem was fascinating to me about 12 years ago. I've been in private aviation for about 15 years, but 12 years ago, I was really became aware of how inefficient it is. And when I say inefficient, let me explain a little bit. Say if someone charters an aircraft from Reno out to San Francisco tomorrow, they're going to ask for that itinerary. It will basically go up to a Craigslist type forum. People will bid on that routing. And about 4 to 6 hours later, it'll be aggregated and go back to a customer or potential customer. It's incredibly primitive. 12 years ago, I really had a vision of being able to make it efficient. In fact, I was shocked that people have it. So what I have done, 6 years ago, I started to build technology that could solve the inefficiency problem. We pulled that technology forward with the Flight Exchange. It's a great opportunity now to make that process, which is so convoluted, opaque, inefficient, efficient. How do we do it? This is, again, a very quick overview of the technology portion and what we're bringing to the table. But essentially, it's a marketplace. We have client demand, We have the supply, which are through Part 135 operators. I'm happy to go through that in detail a little later, but essentially we have made this process efficient. And again, it's really a different differentiator for the flight exchange here to make this process efficient. So I think we are bringing in a really elegant solution here. Because the private aviation problems out there tend to be focused on inefficiency and also focused on a bit of a confusing landscape, we're bringing a solution that solves those problems. We're using technology to make things efficient, to be able to focus on what's important here. I cannot reiterate more. Really, how we're going to win is customer service here. We and I enjoy, in particular, taking care of customers. People pay a lot of money for this type of flying. You know, that flight from Reno to San Francisco is going to cost someone $6,500. They want to be taken care of. They want to have the type of food that they want on board. They want the type of food or drink that they want on board. They want their provider to be very loyal to their needs. We're using tech to be able to concentrate on customers. And then the last piece, the accounting, is fairly important here. I mentioned NetJets and fractional shares. They can be really confusing the accounting portion of other providers out there. We're going to make it very simple, and we think we're bringing the best value case because of simple accounting. I'll go into the model here a little bit and show you how specifically we'll do that. Again, at the start of the presentation, I said we're looking to get 3,000 members here. We're looking to get those 3,000 members from a pool of 1.5 million people across the US. They're really concentrated on metropolitan areas. I can go into those in detail at a further date. But really, we're focused on places like the Bay Area. We're focused on places in California. We're focused on Texas, New York, the Northeast. Here's our model. We are going to charge $4,950 annual fee. We're asking for a fixed annual membership upfront to be able to, again, take care of customers. We're also asking for each time everyone flies a 5% commission. Let me relatively put that into a standpoint here. 5% commission is about 7% less than what's out there in the market. Typically, people that are performing flights, and in fact, the last company that I had called Bird Dog Jet, which I sold, we would charge an average commission 12 to 18%. So we are thinking we're going to the market here with upfront annual fee and then low commission rate, and we think that value type proposition, along with really taking care of people, is going to make people loyal to this program. Corporate membership is going to be a little more, and when I say that, we'll focus on the Fortune 1000. We already have, for instance, a CFO campaign that we're running. What are we going to do there? We're going to charge them $25,000 essentially a year, 5% commission for each flight. To put that in perspective, I've been comparing that to what NetJets customers are flying right now, and typically the annual cost discount is about 33 to 40%, to put that in perspective. So it's very competitive on price. I do want to reiterate, we're not going to sell on price only. We are going to sell on customer service and take care of people. This is a bit of a comparison. I'm not going to go through in detail, but I do want you to notice some glaring opportunity here. I mean, really the cost, what we're asking is not only fair, it's beyond fair, I think. We are going to be and take market share from these people here. So why now? As I said, 12 years ago, I started looking at this problem. It's about time we have a solution that really addresses these problems, and I think I've come up with it. Here's our team. In addition, I'll tell you a little more about an advisory board I'm putting together. That's me. Again, I've been in private aviation for 15 years. I've worked for, I started out with NetJets. I worked for another fractional provider. I then worked for a company called Sentient, selling jet cards. And then I built a company called Bird Dog Jet that I sold. Justin Hart is going to come on board now, it looks like, as Chief Revenue Officer. He will be in charge of getting members. He's done this with a company called Surveyor before. I mentioned that this is a bit of my story and why I think I'm credible. Again, I did sell a company that was to a company called Private Fly, which is out of London, which was then acquired again by a company named Directional Aviation. So after we build these 3,000 members, we think we can exit this company within 3 to 5 years. I think it'll be exited to someone like NetJets, for instance. Fractional models are a good opportunity to acquire this company, I think, because they're going to have to pivot. A little bit of the investment returns and the exit again. I do think that the flight exchange at some point will be looked at hard by a competitor, specifically someone like NetJets. I'm already really keeping in space with those sorts of folks with that end. We are, why am I here? We are looking to raise some capital. We're also looking to really be attached to the Reno market. I could use some help to build out the advisory board even further. Thank you.